Hello and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stu Booth.
I'm Jack Luffman. Got the right arm there, didn't you?
Yeah. I was like, where's my arm gone? Every week he catches me out without fail. No lollipop this week.
Where's it gone?
Outside.
You should have a nice ice cream, haven't you?
Yeah, freebie. So never complain with a free ice cream.
Missed out there, didn't I?
He went too early, didn't he?
Yeah.
Standard. Right, okay. On today's show, we're going to be talking World Cup qualifiers, or watching paint dry, as I like to call it in my house. Premier League fixtures are going to be having a look at what's happening this weekend. England cricket is on the agenda, both Test, which is not brilliant, and just news coming in as literally in the last half an hour as we're about to record this. A little bit about tennis, and then we'll finish off with fantasy football. But let's start with, because we've not spoke, have we? You had your first fixture.
Yeah.
So Sporting Week, first fixture for Dubai Wanderers, and Jack scored
34.
Wowzers.
Retired because we were giving everybody a game.
What's that guy?
There we go. It was a scratch, not particularly fluent, on a difficult wicket to begin with, and then very, very slow outfield, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning as well. But no, it's good. An all-round start actually for us. Quite impressive, quietly confident. If we carry on in that vein, we'll go all right. Clint was outrageous.
Yeah, I saw the scorecard. He's literally just come in and just. I think if a flag come past, I would get hit for a 6.
Oh yeah, he whacked it 49. He retired. He decided in his own mind that he was going to give something else to get into that over, and just couldn't get the 50. But so all in all, really good atmosphere. Went for a drink afterwards at the JA Resort because we were playing over in Jebel Ali. And the boys have obviously got a game tomorrow morning as well. Same venue, slightly different team, I think, who were playing, and then 2 or 3 more members for us. So all in all, good start. Well, very good start, very positive.
Just before we go on to why you're missing tomorrow's game, opposition, much cop or?
No, they weren't the best, to be honest. They weren't, but I think so. It was AFF Tigers, that were a big club. I think it was a mixture of players who could get one out. So there was 1 or 2 steady players, and then 1 or 2 that not so steady. But to be fair, when their batting was probably better than their bowling, so early on they put us under a bit of pressure. We got a good score. They did put us under a bit of pressure, which again is a good outing. And then once we sort of got through that, probably the top 4 maybe, then it was pretty plain sailing. And Dave has managed to give everybody a bowl who needed a bowl. So yeah, it was in footballing parlay. It was a good run out. Minutes in the tank. Some more tomorrow, and then the league starts 17th. We start 17th against Valley Boys, I think it is.
Wales?
Yeah, I don't know. Pasco back or something. I don't know. Gaz Bale. We've got the launch, the DSL launch night on Sunday evening, where I don't really know what goes on. We're going to pick up a kit. That's all I know. So next week I might bring one.
Oh, this is the picture you showed me. It's horrific.
It's
like a 4-year-old had drawn Dubai skyline. We'll talk about that in more detail. But why are you missing tomorrow's game? Big event?
Fairly big, yeah. Bit of a celebration for the wife, who turned the big 4-0 this week.
She celebrates that?
Well, she is this week.
Well, you know what you can do. You can say whatever you want, because you know she isn't going to listen.
She never listens. No. I actually did make her listen last week because she wanted to listen. I can't remember. Come on, and said, "You stitched me up with the omelette thing." So I did make her listen to that. But as soon as we finished that, I was like, "Oh, okay, just turn it off."
All right. Well, I played that to the kids just to listen to.
Yeah, at school.
No, my kids here, but I will play it to the ones at school.
I thought you had.
When we talk about doing podcasts, I will make sure I play that bit.
I've had Kev Field or 2 people come up to me and go, "Can you not cook omelettes, Jack?" No, obviously not, mate.
Disgrace.
What about you? You played last night, didn't you?
Well, we've had 2 games this week. We've had 2 internal games. Dead bizarrely, if you have a look on our YouTube channel now, I actually recorded both games. Got a new gadget, new try at work, so I thought I'd take it for a bit of a trial run. It's unbelievable. The things you can do on it is phenomenal. So basically, it looks like, you get the Quality Street, the green triangles?
Oh, yeah.
It looks exactly like that, but on a bigger scale.
My brother's favourite, though.
Yeah. And it's got 2 cameras, and it has an AI tracker in it that actually picks up the ball, so it just pans across the screen when people are attacking and defending. But the features inside it are just another level, so you can scroll into, like zoom into one person while the action's going on, it's going on, you forget that and you just pan over to that person, so you can watch their movement. You can actually draw things onto the screen, so you can say, look at this here, look at the space that we've got here, we can create some really useful tool for a little bit of coaching. But the gaffer loved it so much, he then texted me going, can you bring it again for the next in-house game? But yeah, both in-house games are actually on our channel, so you can have a little look, see the old guys in motion. It was funny because all the guys last night at football like going, I knew we were slow, I just didn't realise how slow we were.
Yeah, you're not watching it in slow motion.
No, so I did say, I promised I'd said I'd speed it up before I uploaded it this time, but I forgot to press the button. But yeah, it's been 2 good run-outs. I think Sunday I was feeling a bit rough from stuff from the last weekend. So I played 60 of the 90, and then last night, the plan of action was I was supposed to play number 10 for 60 minutes, and then play centre-back for 30. Anyway, one of the lads who I played midfield with, Newbie, just decided he was going to play everywhere other than his right position, so I ended up playing centre midfield for full 90, which wasn't too bad. Definitely got some comments in the bank last night, and it was a hot, humid one last night.
Yeah, it's hot with them,
I literally came back and it looked like I'd jumped in a swimming pool. So it's, like I said, it's probably just exactly what you said. It's minutes in the bank. We've got an in-house friendly on Sunday, but I'm not available for that. I haven't told the gaffer the real reason why. I just said I wasn't available. It's Liverpool Leeds, isn't it?
Oh my goodness!
It's 7:30 kickoff, so I'm like, I'm watching that. But I am going to train on Monday with another team, and then I'm going to play. We've got a game against Bears. I think we're a Division 2 team. So Vet's team against a Division 2 amateur league team.
Oh, so not a Vet Bears?
No. They're actual.
Open age.
Yeah, so that should be a good run out for us. So yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm committed to the weekend with you and missing my end of season presentation.
It's a good talk about that. Are they having a tour?
I know they talked about. They've got t-shirts. they've got a t-shirt. I'll quickly show Jack the t-shirt. I'm just like, what on earth is going on in the world? So the t-shirt says, I'll put it up to screen. So.
Undefeated champions, perfect season.
Yeah, so it says 2018-2019 undefeated DFL champions, 2019-2020 perfect season, 2020-2021 undefeated summer champions. So the perfect season was that one I joined, which we missed the last 3 games of the season. I think we were 14-14. And then obviously we won the Summer League as well.
So next week you can wear your t-shirt and I'll wear the new kit.
Well,
that'll be exciting.
that bright yellowy orange top. But yeah, all guns blazing. So ticking on nicely. And I think we don't start our season till October the 5th. I think.
That'll be good. Cool down, might be on it.
Anyway,
your favourite things of the week happened this week. World Cup qualifiers. What have you picked out for us, Stu?
Right, so I've had a little look. I've mainly focused on the groups because I'll be completely honest with you, I don't know any results. I do know a few results. I'm lying. I did catch England. I tell you what did surprise me, and I've said this a few times. I thought it might be worth saying now is that Hungary in the European Championships were an outfit, and they played in front of their home crowd, and obviously gave Germany a game, Portugal a game, and France a game, and looked competitive. And then England went there and won 4-0.
Yeah.
Obviously it wasn't playing safe in the first half 0-0 and then ended up cruising the game 4-0. So it made me sit there and think going, right, how far along are England or how far back are France, Germany and Portugal in relation to things? I
mean, I think in the Euros that you said it before, you were like, no, England are nowhere near. In my opinion, they're nowhere near there. France, Germany, not Germany actually, France, Portugal, you definitely picked out, maybe even Holland.
I think France and Germany were my two go-to.
Yeah, but I think that proved in that tournament. And actually, let's be honest, forget it. We should have beaten Italy in the final. Yeah. We should have beaten them 1-0 up. They didn't really. I know they had a lot of possession and that. We should have beaten them end of. Let's not go over that. But I think England are a lot closer to those top sides than people think. But I also think that perhaps particularly France, particularly Portugal, aren't quite as good as what people make out.
Well, they didn't. They went out the round after the group stage, all 3 teams. So what everybody thought was going to be the strongest group turned out not to be. Yeah. And then England just steamrolled Hungary. But yeah, last night, bit disappointing, drawn 1-1. I think they scored right.
94th minute. Yeah, I didn't. I was going to stay on and didn't. by all accounts, England played well, were quite comfortable up until the last few minutes.
From all the reports I've read, was Harry Kane had a stinker other than him scoring.
Yeah, I've not really.
I don't know, because for you guys at home it's a decent time, but for us it's super o'clock. But having a little look at the groups across the World Cup qualifiers, especially in the European section, there's no surprises. Portugal top of their group, Spain top of their group, Italy top of their group, France same, Belgium cruising, Denmark absolutely stomping it. Scotland are in with a sniff for the second place. Currently on 11, Israel on 10, Austria on 7, but Scotland beat Austria, so that was a big result for them. Netherlands, Norway, not really much to go between them. Turkey would have been in with a sniff until Holland just pumped them 6-1 and just destroyed the goal difference. Croatia and Russia joint top of theirs with Slovakia in the background. Slovenia an outside chance. England cruising theirs. And I did say this last week, was that if England drew against Poland, it wasn't the worst case scenario because they were already 5 points upon them. But it's given Albania a bit of a glimmer of hope. And Germany are top of the last group.
I think it's just because you've got to win the group to guarantee, haven't you, this time? But again, other than one or two groups that are quite tight, it's just going to form. And I think I've always spoken it before. For me, there should be like a two-tier system in international football qualifiers, because that makes those games more competitive. And the ones, let's be honest, England and some of the bigger nations travelling to places like Moldova or San Marino, it's difficult for the lads because the manager's got to pick the proper team or version of the proper team, or at least the squad. They've all got to travel. They know they're going to win. It's just a bit of a non-event, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, but we'll see. But England are in pole position, and I actually think if they can keep the players fit and some of the younger ones keep developing, I think they've got a decent shout.
It's 12 months, isn't it? It's not far off, is it?
Yeah.
14 months
14
really.
months, yeah.
But yeah, so we move on. Premiership is back, thank the Lord. And the first game is you boys.
Yes.
The weekend. Away to Crystal Palace. Current form, you'd expect you to go there, turn them over, but Crystal Palace is never a guarantee. They could be a bit of a strange team, can't they?
Also, as well, that obviously Spurs have had a lot of players travelling international, so it's the first game of the weekend. I think Son's carrying a knock. Skip came off the under-21s. Sessegnon came off got sent home from the under-21s injured. So there's a few niggles about, but we'll see. But yeah, you'd think, and if Tottenham got any aspiration of doing anything, they're going to go there and win, haven't they? Simple as.
Oh, definitely.
A relegation battle, a 6-pointer.
Well, yeah, the next game on the fixture list is the bottom two clubs in the Premiership, and nobody would ever expect to say Arsenal in that bottom two. But yeah, it is Arsenal versus Norwich. This could be a deal breaker for Arteta if he does not. I would say if he does not win convincingly. I think even like if they win 2-1 or a 1-0, I think then he could still get sacked.
Oh, he's not out of the woods. He won't get sacked after that game, but he's not out of the woods following that, is he? Definitely.
No, I think he definitely needs to be a convincing win. If the performance is good and the scoreline isn't as good, then I think people might be a little bit more forgiving going, right, well, at least we're playing nice football. But yeah, big game for them, and that's the 3 o'clock kick-off for you guys back home, 6 o'clock if you're Dubai. The other games that day, Brentford-Brighton, which is intriguing tie because Brighton likes to play football.
And Brentford do too.
Yeah, Potsy's done well in the past, so that'd be intriguing to see how well both teams perform there. Then we've got Leicester versus Man City, which is probably, I would say, the tie of the day at Leicester. I've just seen
It's an absolute gimme.
Lurch has just appeared at the window. I literally stood there for 30 seconds. I was deliberately ignoring him.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were looking at.
Yeah.
Then I did. Then I saw.
Yeah.
What a state.
Yeah. So Leicester at home to Man City, which Leicester obviously won last time played Man City. And could they upset the apple cart? I don't think so. I think City will probably turn up. They should have more players back from injury.
Yeah.
There will be potentially without Edison.
Yeah, we'll come across that. I've got a question about that.
Okay, right, well, we'll come into that in a sec. And then, other big game that day, Man U versus Newcastle, the return of Ronaldo. But somebody said to me they don't think he'll be playing in this one, they'll wait for the week after.
that old chestnut. Has he done his quarantine and stuff? I assume
he must have done it, unless because he's been away with his international team.
Yeah, but he come back early, didn't he? I don't know.
So,
but surely to goodness, if they've signed him, and I did see in the week that he has, in one day, broke the record sales shirts for Man United in one day. Why on earth are you not going to play him?
No,
I don't get it.
Well, you just got to get as many games out as possible to try and get value for what you're paying for. And then the other games are the 3 o'clock kickoff: Southampton, West Ham. I couldn't tell you which way that's going because Southampton performed better than I thought they would have done, and he looks like he's got a bit of a nobody squad there.
And a plan. They've got a plan.
And West Ham can be brilliant like they've been and score loads of goals, or average like they were against Crystal Palace.
They've signed what's his face, haven't they? Zuma to shore up the back line.
Yeah,
spent a lot of money on him, I think.
But West Ham are part over the last couple of seasons.
I think
because they've bought Kufal, Souček.
I think 25 plus million for Zuma is
Said Panorama as well. They got him as well.
Interesting. They spent some money more. It's definitely.
Yeah, I like them. They're an exciting team to watch.
Yeah,
so
they are. Yeah.
I don't mind. Exciting the fact that they're good going forward and awful at the back.
Yeah. It's Antonio that excites fans, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Antonio, and I like Said Benarima as well. Panorama.
I think Antonio excites the women as well, doesn't he?
Oh, I don't know what you're on about. And last game at 3 o'clock would be Watford Wolves. Wolves stretching around at the moment.
They can't score, can they?
No, and Watford, like we saw against you lot, are not here just to be taken over, and I think they'll cause a few problems. If Ismail Sarr's on form, and I like the lad on the other side, Dennis. Really like him, so I think attacking wise it could cause problems. And then, interesting evening game, Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Villa have had time potentially now with all the new signings and all the money they spent. To gel, but if Chelsea perform like they did against Liverpool, I can't see anything other than 3 points for Chelsea.
They're strong. They look good, don't they? Certainly did before the break, anyway.
Yeah, I just don't think Villa have got a centre back that can wrap up Lukaku.
No.
Mings, if he'd have to perform at his extreme best, but he's liable to make a mistake.
Yeah, and I don't think he's strong enough. No. He's tall and big, but he's nowhere near got the strength of Lukaku. But we'll see.
And then the interesting game, which we mentioned before, on Sunday is Liverpool versus Leeds, or Leeds versus Liverpool, depending on which way round you read it, at Ellen Road. Leeds just haven't started this season.
Well,
so the worry is at some point they will start. I just hope it's not.
Is this the level?
Oh, I'm just hoping it's not starting yet.
I think this is the level.
Yeah.
I think this. I don't think for all. And don't get me wrong, at times last year I was probably proved wrong to a degree or whatever, and they was quite exciting to watch, but I don't think they're all that good.
No.
I'll be honest with you. And I know we got a charity cap in my opinion this week, when arguably he probably could have been pulled into the squad back in the last season or whatever, but Bamford I don't think is going to score the goals that you need to get into. They've surely got aspirations, top 6, something like that. They're nowhere near.
At the moment, they'd be looking over their shoulder for the relegation spots.
Yeah.
So hopefully Liverpool come home with the 3 points there, and then the Monday night game is Everton versus Burnley at Goodison Park.
We're not staying up for that.
No. Which I tell you what we're going to do is we'll talk a little bit that we're going to. The question is this the question?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you whether because obviously Everton may well be affected as well. I
know you're going to ask me now because you've mentioned that, and Everton aren't going to affect it. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. Are you going to down the Brazilian guy who's suspended?
Yeah.
So all the Brazilian guys are going to get suspended, bar Richarlison.
Why not?
Because they claim to have a really good relationship with Everton and Brazil.
That's nice.
How's that even?
That kind of scuppers my argument because I think that. So if you're not aware, FIFA have invoked. Some sort of...
It's not FIFA, it's Brazil.
And FIFA have blocked it. Article 5, I'm reading off this thing, that basically, because Liverpool one club, Chelsea, Man City, and Leeds with Rafinha refused to release them because of the quarantine and all that jazz for international fixtures, Brazil have invoked this article, FIFA have upheld it, So as it stands at the moment, those players
are banned for 5 days.
Yeah, Rafinha, Fred. I mean, you're probably better for them anyway. Thiago Silva, Edison and Jesus, and Alisson, Firmino and Fabinho.
I'd be arguing that Fred not playing is an advantage for United.
So, yeah. But my argument was going to be, well, if that's the rule, then that's the rule. Deal with it, you know, blah, blah, blah. Other clubs allowed players to go into quarantine countries or to countries that had to quarantine or where cases were high. However, because you disagree with me, probably.
Well, I said it.
But having said that, if Richarlison is not going to be treated with the same brush, then my argument is null and void because you cannot have one rule for one rule for another.
Yeah, my argument is that these clubs pay the wages for these guys. So if I'm paying the wages for Jack Luffman to come and play on my team and he's going to go off to international duty, then he has to quarantine because COVID rules, which is I understand about, but yet there's special dispensation for sports people at one point allowing to travel. Remember when Celtic went to Dubai?
Yeah, I mean,
so there was all these loopholes about sports people being allowed to travel, but then Liverpool potentially would lose these players through quarantine and end up losing 3 games. And as an employee that pays the wages of somebody, you wouldn't send anybody off knowing that they won't be able to work for potentially 14, 20 days because let's take this into a business sense. If you work for me and we sell pies and I send you off to Wigan to go and sell pies and then you're going to come back and you're going to have to be quarantined for 10 days, I'm like, you know what, let's just leave it be.
Yeah. I take your point. I've never really bought that we pay the wages. They should pay for the country which we own kind of thing because I think country's different thing. However, I understand the whole quarantine thing. I don't even know what the quarantine laws are around the world anymore. I mean, I think that's half the problem, isn't it? I think that is actually half the problem that I always suspect that clubs couldn't get a straight answer as to whether these players, would they have to quarantine on afterwards, so leave a bit earlier? Would they have to quarantine when they get back? So I can empathise with them. But my argument is still avoid, and I'll take it on the chin because if Everton and Richarlison are not being treated with the same rules, null and void.
Well, this is what makes you laugh even more. That game didn't even happen.
Oh yeah, because
Brazil went to play Argentina, and then the official walked in and said he can't play.
Because that's affected 2 of Spurs and 2 of Villa's players.
Could you imagine you then letting them go and not even playing, and then still having to quarantine? That just makes a whole farce of it. So if Brazil are going to go down that route, why on earth are you organising fixtures against other teams and not having it all done?
And I'm not being funny, that thing there about like quarantine.
There were 9 minutes into the game.
It was the 4 players, Argentinian players based in England that it affected.
Yeah.
How on earth have the Argentine FA, the Brazilian FA that they landed into, the Brazilian government, the Argentinian government, the players themselves not realised what they should or shouldn't have been doing? It's farcical, you know.
So Brazil messed up everything there and then still
shows, yeah. But Richarlison's a nice fella as well.
Yeah, we like Richarlison.
Crackers,
just
crackers.
But yeah, so that's your Premiership bit. We're going to move on to England and what was an exciting Test match. No, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was a good Test match for the neutral, wasn't it? Yeah, it was okay. And that final day at lunchtime, England were. The reality is, for people who probably don't know the game as well as others, will say, hang on a minute, they're 100 for no wicket at lunch. They've got however many 60 hours left in the game.
They made a good start.
Yeah, they only need 250. That's only 3 and over or whatever, or 4 and over. They scored 220 overs in T20 cricket. The fact of the matter is, they're different kind of games, but also there's a reason why, if you look down the history, like England have only chased 350 once in the whole time Test cricket has been playing 4th innings, and that was 2 years ago when Stokes did it with 1 wicket left, and it shouldn't have happened then because Australia had a gilt-edged chance to get rid of Leach. So that's why it does. On paper, it looks fairly straightforward at times, and it did. 100 something for no wicket at lunch, you think we've got a shout, and we did have a shout, but you always knew that if they got 1 wicket, the pressure building, and that's what happened. So they got 1 wicket, the silly run out, and then after lunch, Bummer did what he gets paid to do. Bairstow bang, Pope bang, Bairstow bang, and that's game over there. I was a little bit disappointed that England wilted as quick as they did after that, because it was still a fairly decent pitch. I think they should have been good enough to take it a bit longer, maybe scrape a draw. But it was a good test match and fair play to India. So it's all set up for England have to win on Friday, starting tomorrow, to get a 2-2. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
You'll be glued to that, won't you?
Oh yeah, we actually. I know what would be worse, going to brunch and missing my football presentation or watching cricket.
Oh, that's true. I tell you what, I'll buy you a drink at brunch.
Alright, cheers, thanks for that. Make it a double. You've also just been released about the squads have gone. And the biggest person missing, which we kind of anticipated this, but I do wonder, are they still leaving the door slightly ajar?
No. So obviously,
which is a bit of a strange thing, considering you think back to the Olympics, where the gymnastics girl Simone opted out, then was allowed to opt back in again.
No, I mean, obviously we're talking about Stokes as still having time away for his mental well-being, which obviously is way more important than anything else. But no, that as it stands now, because I think squads have to be in provisional. They are provisional, so I suppose if there was an injury to a batter, let's say, and Stokes then decided he was fit and healthy, then he'd perhaps come in. But they've named a 15-man provisional squad with 3 travelling reserves. I'm guessing that is to accommodate COVID and stuff like that. But I'm going to pick a few things out. Timar Mills, left arm quick, he was brilliant in the 100, bowls at 90 miles an hour regularly. Left arm, and he's got wicked slow balls. Rightly been selected, in my opinion. And then just a bit surprised that 3 reserves: Curran, Dawson, and Vince. Tom Curran has been in the side for the whole cycle and has missed out, which is a bit unfortunate. But
Curran got a brother.
Sam. Yeah. So Sam's in it. He's all round. He's done very well. Tom has missed out. Yeah, 50-50 on that one. To be fair to him, but Vince has been left out. The captain of the 100 of the Southern Brave winning. His class in T20, brilliant in the Big Bash last year, and he's been left out. Or he's one of the travelling reserves, and they've gone for Billings, who's a bit of a. It's kind of like the coach's pet, I think, because he seems to get in every single squad and doesn't ever really do anything. Quite frankly, so a bit. Yeah, I would have personally taken Vince, and they've gone with Liam Dawson as the backup spinner and not young Parkinson, who's a leggy, which I think again is a bit of a safe call.
You always need a leg in there, don't you?
Yeah, a safe call. I mean, the chances are, fingers crossed, that Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali aren't going to do anything. But yeah, but other than that, fairly expected. Well, and of course, it's coming here.
Right. So early predictions off that squad: England, knockdown group.
England will get to the final.
Ooh, big call, Jack.
They are the best white ball team in the world. There's no doubt about that. What brings other people, in particularly in the UAE, on the pitches and the climate, will be the subcontinent teams. So India will always be there and thereabouts, obviously. Pakistan are real dark horses in this thing because they get the tournament people. You know, we talked about Italy and Germany. They all have tournament cricket. And don't rule out Bangladesh, who have had a really good run of recent times, beating Australia and not South Africa, West Indies. It will be in similar conditions, so that could be an outside bet for you. But I'll back England.
Right, okay. Right. So tennis, you wanted this in.
Yeah.
Is this the young female?
Yes, who's now in the semi-final of the US Open. Now I'm going to apologise, Emma Raducanu. 18. Yeah. Remember her?
No.
But anyway, she's broke records, so she's become the first person for a long while to reach the semi-final being ranked outside the top 100. But she's not just got there by scraping, she's hammered. Like, I think she beat the Olympic champion 11th seed 6-3, 6-4 Wednesday to make the quarter-final. It was a similar kind of result in the round before, so she's absolutely flying.
Do you not find though that women's tennis is so inconsistent?
I think it is at the minute, definitely.
I don't know if they're all of similar level and it's just like how they perform the day, but things like this happen more often, you know, where the favourite seeds, I very rarely do you see seed 1, seed 2 make the final or seed 1 versus seed 3. And for a while, you know, you're talking about the men's where you could guarantee it was going to be Federer, Nadal.
Sampras before that area.
Djokovic. So it was always going to be one of them 3 make the final, but the women's game is so unpredictable.
I think that's because the retirement of the Williams, or they've not officially retired, but the less dominant the Williams sisters has become. I think you're probably right. There is it Selena Halep or something? She's probably the best tennis, but she's suffered with injury since, I think, winning Wimbledon a few years back. So I think you're right, and you're fair play to her. She plays the semi-final at Flushing Meadows soon, so be a good cause to get to a final 18-year-old British superstar.
Excellent. We'll look forward. We'll keep an eye on that one. Yeah. Right, fancy football. Obviously, we have got to the point now where, thank goodness, paint drying's finished. We're moving on to the Premiership. It's back.
I think I've made a transfer. I'm going to check while you carry on.
But yeah, it's that time now where you're going to be starting to look at your transfers. So I've had a little look around, and the big one for me is I've saved enough money around the bank and with players in there to bring in one of the big boys.
Have you?
So I could sacrifice, and this would be question markable, is I can sacrifice Ings and Antonio and bring in Lukaku, which is a good thing. So then I would end up with regards to big players, we've got Alexander-Arnold, Fernandes, Salah and Lukaku. Or now my thought process is, how effective is Fernandes going to be now that he's not going to be able to touch penalties?
Will he get him taken off, would you think?
I don't think Ronaldo's going to let anybody other than him take
He's nicked Cavani's shirt.
Yeah, so he stole Cavani's shirt. Did you hear the backwards play on this? Listen to this, and I don't know Cavani's number at the moment, but they sold young lad to Leeds.
Dan James, yeah.
Dan James, because he had Cavani's old number.
21, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, so then Cavani's going to take Dan James's number. Ronaldo's taking Cavani's
number. Not that it's a big issue, but I read somewhere obviously when it was happening, there was an article about it, and they were saying that you can't change squad numbers unless for exceptional reasons.
Yes. So
I bet you any money. That's a bit like Everton letting.
I
bet you any money if that was poor old Brentford signing Ronaldo, they wouldn't have let him have the number 7 shirt.
Yeah. So I've got the opportunity there, and then if I don't bring in Lukaku in, do I look at bringing in Ronaldo in? And now Harry Kane settled, I have that dilemma. So I can afford to get Ronaldo, Kane, or Lukaku in. I just don't know which one to go for.
Well,
I'm a bit dubious about bringing Ronaldo in because I don't know how he's going to play, and it's going to be fight off between Lukaku and Kane because I don't know who's going to score more.
Yeah. Well, I obviously had Kane in from the start for that reason, because wherever he went, when we stayed time, he's going to score goals. So I was like, I want that money locked in, which is my excuse for a slow start.
Yeah.
But I made one. I took Ings out this week, and I brought Antonio in because I just think the way that West Ham play, I think Villa were struggling a bit, and I watched it. I know Ings has actually done reasonably well so far. But I'm looking at I almost took Maguire out, or one of Maguire or Van Dijk as a centre-half, because I think, like you've got there, which is how I had it last year, is you've got to have defenders who assist.
Yeah, but I think you've got a point with Maguire because the guy is phenomenal in the air, though, isn't he? And I did debate going back and forth, but I did pick Shaw in the end. But Maguire wins his headers, and Van Dijk also is a threat in the box. So if you can get a clean sheet with a goal...
And Van Dijk does spread a pass or two every now and again.
Yeah, so...
Don't know, we'll see what happens. I'll tell you what I did before we move on to... We've got Mr. Larkin, haven't we? I saw Jason Smith in the car park at school.
Oh, yes.
He's out 1 a week, he's a monthly winner. I've got your voucher for actually, Smithy. And of course, last week I asked what the heck his team name stuff was.
Oh, right, okay.
And he told me. But I can't repeat it. We're a family show.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's something to do with, to the tune of, a lion sleeps tonight. Boom, boom, boom,
yeah.
Right? It's in that theme tune, and it's about Scott McTominay, because Jason Smith is a Scot himself, Scottish man. Scott McTominay choosing Scotland over England.
All right, okay.
So try and work it out. But yeah, it did make me laugh.
Okay.
And his singing was quite good as well.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Right, so that's our little bit about fancy football, and that's us.
We're not as entertaining as Larks. We don't spread the jam.
But we'll hopefully get Larkin on for next week.
Definitely.
So we'll get Larks in for next week. He can spread his jam wherever he wants.
Don't tell him that, for goodness sake.
Yeah, it just sounds wrong on many levels. But at the end of the day, Jack,
what do we know?